Chapter 20. A ringing phone shattered Milo's sleep. He jolted awake like someone had spliced a jump scare into his dream sequence. For a moment, reality flickered between cuts. Was he in his old apartment, or this storage closet masquerading as a living space? The phone kept ringing as if auditioning for the role of harbinger of doom. Hello? It sounded more like a death rattle than a greeting. Mr. Piven? The crisp voice on the other end belonged to someone who had clearly been awake for hours and seemed mildly disappointed that Milo failed to match his enthusiasm. This is Harrington. His stomach dropped. Calls from the studio, let alone Harrington, were never good news, especially not at... He glanced at his watch, 7:03 a.m. What can I do for you, Mr. Harrington? He tried to inject some semblance of professionalism into his voice. Unfortunate news. Harrington's tone suggested this news was about as unfortunate as finding out your competitor's $200 million blockbuster had bombed at the box office. The insurance has been pulled. What? Milo sat on the couch fast enough to give himself whiplash. Why? There have been numerous reports of delays and mix-ups on your set, loss of power. That wasn't my fault. I'm not talking electrical. The insurance company feels that your production has become too high risk. But that's insane, Milo said. Every production has its hiccups. We've also received a copyright claim. Apparently, there is some question as to the originality of Capra's script. You're suggesting he plagiarized? I'm suggesting nothing of the sort. The complainant is. And until the issue is resolved, I have no other choice but to suspend production. Wait. Desperation crept into his voice. Is anyone else having these kinds of problems? Other productions, I mean. Piven, this is definitely a you problem. And then Harrington killed the call. Milo sat in stunned silence. Maybe he would spend the day in bed, or in the couch. The office door burst open and Poppy strode in, gum popping, her perfectly coiffed hair and immaculate makeup making Milo feel even more like a failure. Or maybe that was the fact that he was still in PJs. She carried a stack of papers, her expression screaming, "We're in serious trouble." What are you doing in on a Saturday? He asked. I just got off the phone with Harrington, she said, dropping her paperwork on the desk with a resounding thud. So you know about the insurance, Milo said, and the copyright claim. I don't know, Poppy. Maybe I should just give up. Don't you dare, Milo Piven. There's real promise in you. I'm already working on getting us a new insurance company, but in the meantime I've been doing some digging. Digging? Milo said. Uh-huh. Poppy held out her paperwork. Take a look at these. Milo rolled out of bed and took the documents. Prop cancellation. Casting sent to the wrong email address. A complaint to the union about the grips and gaffers. These are all the screw-ups we've had, or are about to have, but they're all signed with your name. Exactly. Poppy flung her hands wide, but I didn't sign any of them. So what are you saying? Cinema Protectorate be damned. Poppy pointed to a brown smudge on one of the papers. Smell that. Milo made it a general rule not to smell anything brown, but he brought the paper to his nose and inhaled deeply anyway. Coffee? Yep. And not just any coffee. That's the special blend from Ava's Airstream. Come on, Milo said. That could be anyone's coffee. It doesn't prove anything. Maybe not. But this might. Poppy pulled out her phone, tapping the screen a few times before handing it to him. Security footage from the day of our disastrous casting call. Look who's having a little tete-a-tete with the casting director. Milo squinted at the grainy image like it was the Zapruder film of his career's assassination. There was Ava, her blue hair a beacon of betrayal, clearly conspiring with the casting director. The image quality was terrible. Security cameras apparently hadn't evolved since the 1980s, but there was no mistaking that cerulean signature. I called the casting agency. Ava apparently asked them to switch the audition locations, so that's why none of our actors showed up. It felt like the floor had dropped out from under him. Ava, the one person he thought he could trust in this whole mess, had been sabotaging him all along. "Why would she do this?" Milo asked. Poppy's expression softened. "I'm guessing we're looking at old-fashioned green-eyed envy, pure and simple." "Jealousy?" Ava had a picture pulled from Dynamo last summer. It was supposed to be her inaugural gig as a director. Milo flushed, feeling foolish. He had been played, manipulated by someone he mistakenly believed was a friend. A new emotion bubbled up inside him while the shock wore off. Anger, white-hot and righteous. Poppy was right. Cinema Protectorate be damned. What a load of bullshit. And he had bought every word. Milo tossed the paperwork on Poppy's desk and strode barefoot out of the office. He crossed the lot, heading for Ava's. She shouldn't be there. It was Saturday. But soon as he turned the corner, his gaze bolted onto a blue-haired figure manning the coffee. He'd been so worried about Fedora Person he failed to see the saboteur right in front of him. "Ava," he said, striding over. "We need to talk. Now." "Of course." She frowned. "What's wrong? Are those your pajamas?" He ignored her. "You've been sabotaging my movie this entire time." Her face paled. "What?" "You're the one that switched the casting locations. You messed with our props, the union, our insurance, everything." I didn't do all of that," she said, her cheeks reddening. "I saw you on security footage talking to casting." She clenched her jaw. "Okay, I admit to the casting thing. I wanted to be in the film, Milo. No, I needed to be in..." "Why? Because your film got pulled? So you decided to torpedo mine instead?" Ava's eyes darted around nervously, and in a whisper she said, "This is what they do, Milo. The Protectorate is trying to blame me and turn you against me. Can't you see that?" A small voice in the back of his mind whispered that maybe she was telling the truth. The conviction in her eyes, the desperation in her voice. It was almost enough to make him doubt everything he had learned. Almost. "I think it might be best if you found another movie to latch onto. I'm not sure you're a good fit for the golden path." "Milo, please." Her face crumpled. "You have to trust me. Everything I've done, it's been to protect you, to protect the movie, to protect the world itself." "Trust you?" The laugh that escaped him wouldn't have made it past a first table read. "This is Hollywood, Ava, where even the fake smiles have stunt doubles. I can't trust anyone, least of all someone who's been method acting their way through our entire friendship." She flinched, her eyes watering. Then he turned and left, refusing to look back. He might start to doubt again. And right now, that was a luxury he couldn't afford. The golden path stretched out before him, but for the first time since starting this journey, Milo wasn't sure that he wanted to follow it. Maybe some stories were better left untold. Maybe some paths were better left untaken.